Hello and welcome to Paris Games here on France 24, our daily Olympic roundup. Over the next 25 minutes, I'll be bringing you through all the latest from day 5 here in the French capital. Well, let's start with a few of the day's biggest stories, and there's nowhere else to begin but the River Seine, after days of water quality concerns caused by heavy rains last week. Put the swimming portion of the Olympic triathlons in doubt. The women dove into the river early on Wednesday, followed by the men a few hours later. The organisers said that they were assured that the latest tests of the water showed compliance with quality standards. That came after days of uncertainty following heavy rain on Friday and Saturday. Elsewhere, it's been a good day for Great Britain. In fact, a brilliant half an hour earlier on, where they secured 2 gold medals in a matter of moments. GB pulled off a stunning victory with the last stroke of their oars to win Olympic gold in the women's quadruple sculls final at River Seine, beating Netherlands in a thrilling finale. Minutes after their men had won gold in the final, the Dutch looked set to add a second, but after a titanic struggle, the British foursome pulled themselves across the line with one last big effort to win by 0.15 seconds, with Germany third. The Netherlands crew appeared to have comfortably dealt with the British challenge from the midway point of the race, but Britain's crew somehow found the energy to mount a last desperate challenge and stun the Dutch at the finish line. And just before that, there was a magnificent performance from Alex Yee. He pipped New Zealand's Hayden Wilde for an amazing victory in the men's triathlon. Britain's Yee, silver medalist in Tokyo, demonstrating his pacing mastery of the 10-kilometre run, overtaking a flagging Wilde with less than 400 metres to go in blazing sunshine and 30 degrees Celsius heat. His victory added a 10th Olympic triathlon medal to Britain's collection after Beth Potter won bronze earlier on Wednesday, cementing the country's dominant spot in the sport that made its Games debut in 2000. Well, let's talk more about that triathlon with Karim Bolde, who is our regular consultant. Karim, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Leo.
Firstly, let's talk about the sporting side of the triathlon. It was a fantastic event in the end. Fabulous gold medal for France. Cassandre Beaugrand in the women's triathlon. What a performance from her.
Yeah, that was such a great performance, and she made a difference in the running session, because in triathlon you have swimming, and then you have cycling, and then you have running. Just to explain to our viewers, and at the last round of the running session, she could make the difference because she was a former athlete, and her performance was unbelievable. In 10 kilometers, her time today was 32 minutes. I couldn't do that in even in 5 kilometers. I couldn't do that. So yeah, it means that's a huge performance, and that's the best reward for French triathlon, because that's the first ever individual medal in triathlon for French men and women. Because earlier on, since 2000, since the Games of Sydney, each time they could bring places 4 to 8 only, but they couldn't go above that on the podium. That was the case this time, and that was perfect in front of a huge French crowd as well in the streets of central Paris.
Yeah, it was kind of the perfect result. Of course, the triathlon, keen eyes on the triathlon, not only because of the sporting
yes,
side. There's been so much
obviously.
controversy about this. Does it feel like the city of Paris were going to make this happen no matter what?
Yeah, because they waited till last minute. They got the green light at 4 in the morning. So it was very, very late. They waited till the last minute. We listened yesterday to some officials, such as the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, saying that race, that triathlon will happen today. And that was the case. We'll see afterwards whether the Seine River was good enough or clear enough. But they decided to go forward, to move forward. And we saw a beautiful race. But about the weather, that had some impact on women's race, because we saw many participants with some falls on the floor because the streets was quite wet this morning. That wasn't the case for the men's race later on.
It was amazing, the quick change.
Yes, exactly.
The completely
In a matter of hours.
Yeah, matter of hours. We saw the British runner coming through in the blazing sunshine, as I said, and then for the women, it was a completely
exactly.
different story. Well, our very own Francois Picard kept an eye on that triathlon for us, alongside Craig Peters from high above the city. Take a look.
Well, they finally did it. After much, much suspense, the triathlon was able to be staged in Paris. Suspense to the end, Craig Capitas, because we had a big thunderstorm overnight.
Huge, and people accused us of being full of hot air. Well, we took them to task because we are on a hot air balloon 150 meters above Paris, where you can see the entire city, because this city has turned into a theatrical production of athletics, and it's been pretty fabulous, hasn't it?
That's one of the amazing things, because we have the banks of the River Seine. It is the venue, the Seine, for a lot of the events. And the Seine does an arc. The Eiffel Tower is behind us. On the other side, there is the Invalides Armory, where there's Napoleon's tomb. And that was the setting for the end of the triathlon race.
Yeah, and this is a big problem for future Olympic Games. How are you going to top what's going on underneath us and behind us? Pretty impossible. I was talking to some IOC officials the other night, and they said, maybe Rome, maybe. Wrestling in the Colosseum, even that doesn't get close to what we're seeing here in Paris. I defy Los Angeles to top this. I don't see how they can do it.
And that's the news from 150 meters up above Paris.
Craig Capitas and Francois Picard, two braver men than me. I don't fancy going up in a hot air balloon, but thanks for that report. When it comes to Olympic Games, there's one nation that certainly doesn't mess around. To maximise the performance of their athletes, the American Olympic team has set up a high-performance centre for the Paris Games. Team USA has set up to the north of Paris. Our reporter James Andre was able to visit the so-called medal factory.
Talia Brooks hits the track, while US superstar sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson discusses with her coach. We are at the HPC, Team USA's high-performance training facility. They have exceptionally granted us a visit. The venue is called Athletica. It is run by the Val-d'Oise local council.
We have a front row seat. We respect them a lot, so we won't bother them. We watch them go by with stars in our eyes. The Americans came to meet us very early back in 2018. They have a delegation with many athletes, which means they need this type of equipment. It's also their organization that requires everything to be dedicated to the athletes to enable them to achieve this type of performance.
450 American athletes practicing 30 different sports are expected to use this facility to avoid the constraints of Olympic official training schedules and venues.
We had approximately 60% of our athletes who medaled that came through the High Performance Center in Tokyo, and we expect the same or similar here in Paris.
The council has spent 27 million euros modernizing this center.
This track has been rebuilt specially for the Team USA. It has the exact same surface the athletes will be running on in the Olympics, and that, of course, is an advantage for them.
Here, there are 100 rooms, a restaurant, a host of sports doctors and coaches, everything required to maximize athletes' performances on their big day.
Training really has been the same, but the mental aspect, I definitely upped a bit just to prepare for the moment, the huge crowd, and even just the realization that this is a once in 4 year, chance, and everyone wants the gold. So it's a lot of mental preparation.
Each athlete can take time to get ready at their own rhythm. Mary is a weightlifter. She will be competing at the very end of the Olympic fortnight.
I have lots of time, so I'm not peaking yet. I don't feel great yet, so I'm trying to train heavy a couple more days, and then I'll start to kind of taper and feel a little bit better and rest more.
For certain sports like breaking, the HPC offers privacy to rehearse routines away from prying eyes.
Breaking is about personal expression and having your own style. The best dancer on that stage will be the one that stands out the most. The dancer with the most depth in their arsenal that they present to the audience and to the judges is the one that will prevail and get the gold medal.
At the pool, the artistic swimming team is just about to start training. They know they can count on vast resources and a host of experts.
You're a team daring to dream the biggest dream possible.
This was written by our 1996 Olympic
gold medalist. Her name's Jill Savary, and it means so much, just such an honor to have their spirit with us as we go into these games.
The United States have consistently finished first on the Summer Olympic medal scoreboard since the Atlanta Games in 1996. And they appear to be determined to win the Paris Games as well.
Well, within just 15 minutes of the Paris 2024 Megastore boutique opening this week on the Champs-Élysées, tourists were seen lining up to snag some souvenirs of the Games. The official mascot, based on the French revolutionary cap, has been a particular bestseller, with visitors and locals alike keen to get merchandise bearing the emblem of the Games. Paris 2024 authorities expect to earn over €100 million based on memorabilia sales alone. Vedika Behel explains.
Here in the French capital, these long queues are not to enter an Olympic Games match, but instead outside the official Paris 2024 boutique, with throngs of tourists desperate to get their hands on memorabilia, with one triangular character in particular gaining interest, the 2024 mascot, the Frige.
Maybe I think it will be nice to put it at home as a decoration.
I like the theme, good memento of the Olympics, but definitely, I think it presents very well.
Our cousin is disabled, so we're just looking at also the disabled mascot of the Olympics, and that's very nice to see, that they have the mascot with the disabled piece on it.
Seen all around Paris, adorning keychains, bottles, hats and plushies, the Frige mascot is a nod to the Frisian cap, a symbol of the French Revolution. Revived from Roman times when it was worn by slaves, both male and female revolutionaries adopted it as a testimony to their core values of freedom and emancipation. According to officials, the Frige's demand is due to its ease as a souvenir to take home. And priced around €30, it doesn't break the bank either.
The appeal of the mascot is because it is an easy product to buy. There is no size, there is no question of it is for men or women. We expect to get more than €100 million of revenue for Paris 2024 based on the sales of the merchandise and official product.
Whilst the mascot was initially mocked online for its appearance, likening it to Doritos and human body parts, one thing is clear, that the Olympic Frige is now going global.
France's Anthony Jeanjean grabbed bronze in the BMX freestyle earlier on today. He was gunning for gold, but a fall on his first run put paid to that. Selena Sykes was there to witness it. She sent us this.
He was going for gold, but Anthony Jeanjean had to settle for bronze here at Place de la Concorde after a thrilling men's BMX freestyle final. The Frenchman, who fell in his first run here at Place de la Concorde and had to deliver in his second run, a lot of pressure on the young Frenchman, and he did deliver. He had a dazzling second run in front of a raucous home crowd at Place de la Concorde, though it wasn't enough for a gold medal. He got a final score of 93.76. A lot better than his run in Tokyo 3 years ago when he finished in 7th in the final. It was Team GB's Kieran Riley, the world champion, who got a second place, and a bit of surprise as Argentinian Jose Gil Torres from Argentina got the gold in an absolutely thrilling BMX final.
Well, let's talk more about that bronze medal with Karim. Of course, a bronze is a good result, but he wanted a lot more than that, didn't he? He was gunning for gold.
Yes, his only goal was a gold medal because Anthony Jeanjean is the world champion and he got some disappointment in Tokyo 3 years ago and he was in front of his home crowd. Maybe, to come back on your question of yesterday, maybe he got some pressure because on his first run, he fell down very, very quickly.
Do you think that was a matter of nerves? Do you think
maybe because in other competitions, even in France, for example, the championships in Montpellier some months ago, he didn't have that. But this time, just at the beginning of his first run, he fell down. So
and they never would have had crowds like that, so raucous and so much behind him. He never would have had that before.
So many people in Place de la Concorde, as Selena said, this is just unbelievable for that kind of sport. And at the end, we can only be thankful to him for bringing that bronze medal, even if in my opinion, he could get the silver because what he did in his second run was beautiful and invented some other flips. He decided to show that at this moment, at the final stage of the Olympic Games, but judges decided to give him only the bronze medal. But it's not so bad.
Only bronze doesn't sound so bad to me. Well, that's the end of the BMX freestyle. But there's also BMX racing, and it's one of the disciplines in which France has a good chance of winning medals. In recent years, the French have been the best in the world with a resounding treble at the World Championships last year and another 2 places on the world podium just a few weeks ago. All the more reason to be confident in their quest for Olympic gold. Camille Knight tells us more.
A race to be the fastest on this Olympic track. The French team is perfecting final details during training to avoid repeating the nightmare that was Tokyo in 2021. During the last games, none of the 3 French competitors made it on the podium. Current world champion Joris Daudet was there, and it's a memory he'd rather not revisit.
Everyone is good enough to win. Unfortunately, we have never managed to win a medal, but maybe it's a blessing in disguise, because if we win one in Paris, that would be even better.
The team is confident going into these games. For the past 2 years, they've placed 5 riders on World Championship podiums. Romain Maillot won gold in 2023, with 2 other Frenchmen in 2nd and 3rd place. In Paris, he'll be one of the favourites.
It can add a bit of pressure, but it's a kind of pressure that I consider to be a privilege. Being a favourite is really something that's part of your career, and you have to take everything on board. It depends on how you use that stress, but if you use it well, it can have magical powers.
A bit of magic, but also a lot of work. France is now a leading nation when it comes to BMX racing. Since 2016, the country has been consistently bringing home World Championship medals. Coach Julien Sastre has been in charge for the past 10 years.
With all due humility, I don't think there's a team in the world today that can boast the level of intensity that we have here, and that when you know how to use it, and I think our riders do, that's what gives us our strength when we take part in an international competition.
But never in the 4 times BMX racing featured in the Olympic Games have the French ended up on a podium. Just like in Tokyo, France will be represented by Joris Daudet, Sylvain André and Romain Maillot. And in Paris, anything is possible.
Another French star who shone today is the 17-year-old Félix Lebrun. He beat German Dmitry Ovtcharov to qualify for the quarter-finals. It was closer than it could have been after his opponent came back from 3 sets down to tie it up at 3 apiece, but the youngster, ranked number 3 in the world, held his nerve and won the decider to keep his medal hopes alive. It was disappointment for his brother Alexei, though, who lost at the same stage. Karim, huge win for Félix. He's now the 2nd highest ranked player left in the competition after the top-seeded Chinese player lost earlier today. Gold? Can he win gold?
Podium. I think at least he will be on the podium.
That's conservative. Surely he can win gold.
I know it's a little bit conservative, but you never know what can happen. And they are very young. Félix Lebrun, 17 years old, first Olympics, obviously. And he discovered kind of atmosphere. And just to give you a sense of what the Lebrun brothers bring to tennis table in France, table tennis in France, is just unbelievable to see. For example, this afternoon, Zinedine Zidane, football megastar, it was in the stands. It was looking at Félix Lebrun.
Can you imagine being 17 years old and having Zizou watching you and the whole of the nation? It's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of pressure. And to look at table tennis once again, I mean, even in France, we have some former champions such as Jean-Philippe Gatien in the 90s, but that wasn't that kind of hype. And this is because the Lebrun brothers have that sense of show business and to be entertaining while playing as well. Not only because they play well, but also because they know how to entertain people. For example, at the French Championships, when one of the 2 brothers won against the other one, he jumped on the table. And then the crowd in Montpellier, I think it was in Montpellier, they cheered out loud. So that means a lot to see those guys bringing table tennis to that level. So, well, I won't be conservative. Let's go for it.
Let's go for gold.
Let's go for gold. Let's go for gold. We'll see in a couple of days, I suppose. But yeah, and this is a little bit of a disappointment for Alexis Lebrun, but he lost against the number 4 seed.
Number 4 in the
So
world,
it's
presumably.
it's not a big upset.
Well, a good day for Félix Lebrun, a great day for Léon Marchand. In the last few minutes, he powered home with an Olympic record to win the 200-metre butterfly to add to his 400-metre medley. Selina Sykes was at the La Défense Arena to watch it for us. Selina, first question, have you caught your breath? Second question, how did he do it?
Not quite, Leo. Maybe I should get an Olympic gold too for the run I've just had to do outside of that arena. As you can imagine, it was an absolutely incredible atmosphere. The place went absolutely insane. Everybody was on their feet for that last 50 metres. We are seeing history in the evening here this evening. Léon Marchand now with his second gold Olympic medal, this time in the 200-metre butterfly, beating the big favourites, the world record holder and reigning Olympic champion. Well, not reigning, now Olympic champion, the Hungarian Christoph Malek. This is absolutely incredible. It's quite unbelievable what we're seeing right now. Canadian Ila Karan in third for Canada, getting the bronze. What an incredible moment for this young 22-year-old man. He's been billed as the big star ahead of this Olympics and on the home turf, and the crowd was absolutely insane for that race just now. And obviously Marchand could make history this evening because he's not got long to catch his breath, Leo. He's in another race very soon, as he'll next be up for the 200-metre breaststroke, and if he manages to even win any medal in that race, he will become the first swimmer in history to win medals in both the butterfly and the breaststroke 200 metres. That would be an exceptional feat for him, and as you can imagine, the whole of the arena behind me will be fully behind him for that one.
Selina, thank you very much. We'll let you catch your breath. Of course, you'll be back in for that other final tonight, and we'll catch up with you a little bit.
And get back inside.
And get back inside, yeah. And we'll catch up with you a little bit later. Karim, I want to go to you.
Yeah.
He's already one of the great French athletes. He's the first French swimmer in history to win 2 gold individual medals. Yeah. He's 22 years old. Just put into context this achievement from Léon Marchand tonight.
This is extraordinary because in France we're not used to see that kind of ultimate champion, I will say, because when we look back at history, we saw Johnny Weissmuller, for example, Mark Spitz or Michael Phelps, but these weren't French guys. I mean, we used to get 1 medal individually, 2 medals, and maybe 1 plus the relays, but not such as Léon Marchand, 400-metre medley last weekend, and now 200-metre butterfly, and we're waiting for the other final of the night, and then he's gonna run as well, he's gonna swim as well tomorrow morning for the 200-metre medley.
He's going to be tired, is what I'm taking from this.
But
how do you do that? How does he keep so concentrated? How does he compete at such a high level in so many races?
Because he knows how to cope with every discipline. We knew that the 400 meters medley was his best competition, but tonight it was closer than ever, and he came back from nowhere in the last 50 meters, as Selina said. So that's why he has a great mindset in terms of preparing those Olympics. Even his coach, Bob Bowman, he didn't agree with him by doing so many competitions, but at the end, we see Léon Marchand prepared quite well in terms of mentality as well. He has a mental preparator as well to give him that strength, but it was easy for him because we look at him and it feels like the pressure goes like this on him.
And he seems like he's never beaten as well. That's the thing. Even with 50 meters to go, even if he's behind,
exactly,
he's never beaten.
He has this mentality to come back, and this is very important because we know that in swimming it's very close, like the gap between the first, second, and third, it was very close tonight on this area. So he has that mentality to come back. He always believes in himself, and that's very important. And with the push of the crowd at the La Défense Arena, it is even better. And we don't know up to where he can go. Even in those Olympics, we'll see at the end, but 11 races in less than 7 days, if we include relays later on the program, is just, wow, just amazing.
Yeah, 22 years old, and he's already one of, if not France's greatest swimmer of all time.
Yes, already.
Well, Karim Balde, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much. Of course, you'll be back tomorrow.
Yes.
As will I. Well, let's finish with the photo of the day. This is Adriana Ruano, who won Guatemala's first ever Olympic gold medal earlier on. And not just winning, setting an Olympic record as well in the shooting. She had previously been a gymnast, but a spinal injury ended that dream. So she retrained in shooting, and now she's made history. What a story, and congratulations to her. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Paris Games. I'll be back, and so will Karim at the same time tomorrow with all the Olympics latest. Stay tuned for more world news on France 24 in just a few minutes' time.